Welcome back, y'all. Hold on a second. Let me do this. Ah, there they are. What up, the Wolf 92 from Lansing, Michigan. Jorrit from the Netherlands, what's up, man? Debbie Deb in the house. Santos Milan from Hungary. What up, Ben Krista? Paul Bishop from New Zealand's in the house. What up, Brian? Eric Neal from Omaha, Nebraska. Jeff Martin, thanks a lot, man. Uganda? Say what? Shout out to Uganda. Bill from London. What's up, London? Al Drum, thanks a lot, man. It's been a while. You know the deal. Grab your sticks and your pad and some snacks. Chip Hammond from Maine's in the house. William from Brazil. PWJR TV from Sweden. Man, my hands are feeling good today. Dank Mayo, what's up, man? Moscow. MBL United from Moscow. Daniel Miles from Houston, Texas. It's good to see y'all, man. Oh man, I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name. But he's saying hi from the Armed Forces of Ukraine, which is crazy. Thanks for watching, man. Victor from Serbia. Look at Pam and Cindy from Whitby. Pam, get back to work. You're supposed to be working right now. Mwah. William Mariano, you tell him. 95 people, only 28 likes. You better get up on that. I'm doing my thing here, man. I'm trying my best to entertain y'all. Better hit that like button. Don't let me get Flamuel L. Jackson on you. CL, what you got in your hands? These are the broomsticks from Promark. Check out the Promark website. These come in 3 sizes. This is a small, probably the most comfortable of all of them, and I love them. Emong, help me shout out the Drum Network Uganda. Uganda. Everybody in the comment section, give a shout out to the drum community in Uganda, please. OC Braithwaite wants to hear some Hertas. How's that? Now hit the like button. Stop messing around. Chad Phillips in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. George Phillips, thanks a lot, man. Big Yellow Jackets fan. That's probably my favorite cover that I've done so far. Yeah, I've learned a lot from listening to Will Kennedy, so that was a lot of fun. CL, what's the best way to learn to do solos? Wow. That's like asking what's the best way to learn how to speak English. There's a whole lot to it, my man. There's a lot to it. There's the technique side of it. Then there's what I call the theory side of it. The theory side, basically, what I consider the theory side is everything that you know about playing the drums. Your technique, your vocabulary, all of that stuff. The larger your vocabulary, you know, the more you'll be able to say in a solo. So the first thing you need to do, number one, develop the hands. Number two, listen to a lot of drum solos. Number three, learn your subdivisions. You writing all this down? You got to learn your subdivisions, man, because, you know, there's no point throwing the sticks around if you don't know what you're doing. And then it's a gradual thing, man. Just listen to a lot of drummers, listen to a lot of solos. As your technique develops, then you can start to sort of, you know, pick out the easier stuff and start doing them. And then later on, like once you start learning all those tricks from watching Todd Zuckerman and Steve Smith and Vinny and all those people, Gad, you can start to apply all of that stuff. But it's a long process, man. It's a long process. Astral Gonzalez from India. What's happening? Hey, listen, Super Chat is on. So if you want your comment pinned, if you like leaving a tip in the tip jar, go ahead and do so. I want to see 100 Super Chats before this thing's over. We got till 4 o'clock, so stop slouching. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Wow, there's another Rob B from Toronto. What's he saying? We know what gear you have outside of drumming. What's something all of us viewers don't know about you? He's just curious. Well, a lot of y'all know I'm a barbecue genius. I don't know if you knew that or not. Another thing you might not know is I absolutely love cars. Love cars. I've loved cars since I was 16. Adam's Drum Room. What up, man? Thanks for the super chat, my man. Yeah, I love cars, man. I used to collect car magazines. I used to go out and like crawl car dealerships on the weekends and sort of visualize myself driving all these different cars. Yeah, and I just picked one up too. Who else is here? Brooke Hornback. She's a regular. She's here all the time. What's up, Brooke? Damien from Ireland, Dublin in the house. Let me flip back and catch some of these. Ride Op Video is a fellow Yamaha player. Shout out to Yamaha. How do you keep the splash mounted to the bass drum tom holder from wiggling and ringing? And those are carrying recordings. It does sort of shake and wiggle a bit, but not enough to, you know, disrupt any recording. One thing that you can do is, you know, it might squash or splash a little bit, but one thing I used to do is use thicker felts. If you use thicker felts here, put one on top, one on the bottom, it'll keep it from kind of moving around. But when you hit it, it's obviously it's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna shake as much, but you still get a nice tight splash sound on the recording. So yeah, just pick up some thick felts, stick them on there, good to go. MBL United, as a Steve Gadd fan, have you ever tried to learn the Crazy Army snare solo? Not the whole thing, but I can play the first bit. That's all you're getting, because I got comments I gotta read. What else is here, man? Who else is here? Somebody's from Peterborough, Ontario. Lucy and Dream from Peterborough. Love your work. Thanks a lot, man. Al Drum, what's your opinion on extended footboards versus regular? I think I've only played one extended footboard before. I think it was, if I'm remembering correctly, I think it was an Axis pedal. They make longboards? I think it was an Axis. It felt good. I don't think I'd buy one, but you know, it felt all right. You get a little bit more leverage on there, I think, because the board's longer. They feel all right, like it's a little bit different from a regular pedal, but I'm just sticking to the regular pedals. What else is going down here? Wow, man, look at all these comments. I'm gonna have to start hiring somebody to read these because I can't even keep up. Tim Cox, ever learn the drums from Say Goodbye from Dave Matthews Band? Not Say Goodbye, but I know several Dave Matthews songs. Perhaps a cover is in the future. I used to practice to the Crash album all the time. My two favorite Dave Matthews albums, Crash, and I believe the other one's called Every Day, the one with the black and white cover. That album's killer. Yeah, but I've been messing around with Fool to Think off that album. I don't know if you're familiar with that tune, but Fool to Think is a killer tune. I'm thinking about doing a cover of that, but I got to mess around with that some more. Yeet Feet has his first gig coming up. Everybody wish Yeet Feet some luck. You'll be all right, man. As soon as you get up on the stage, after you get past the first like 2 or 3 songs, you'll settle and everything will be cool. Miscellaneous Manta. How do you get cymbal volume down in a live band practice? Well, I mean, there's a couple things you can do. Number one, it's probably not the most practical, but you know, don't use super thick, loud cymbals, number one. Another thing you can do, obviously, is don't hit them as hard. And one way to make that happen, actually, here's a tip to control your volume in general. Because I used to play in a lot of churches, and a lot of these churches met in rooms that were just horrible rooms to play in. Horrible. The acoustics are just nightmares. So you always get the one person coming up to you and say, you know, we kind of got to watch the volume. Do you mind, you know, turning down a little bit? So you're like, sure, no problem. You walk to your kit and say, let me just turn the volume knob. That's I mean, I hate that. I can't stand when people tell me that. These are drums, right? They're gonna make noise. But one thing that you can do, instead of using things like these, which are great, I love them, but they're not always practical, right? Because when you need a cross stick, you got nothing. So one thing you can do is just use regular sticks and choke up. Choke up on them. It's gonna feel a little weird, but you can control your volume way better when you choke up on a stick versus holding them way back here. Because back here, they're going to be swinging like crazy. When you choke up, now you can use your forearm to sort of help control the volume. So there's a tip. It might work with the cymbals as well. Just, you know, don't hit them as hard. Don't play through them. Just kind of swipe at them. You'll be fine. That's how you should be playing your cymbals anyway. Don't be friggin', you know, don't hit them like you hate them. These things are expensive. Who else is here? George Phillips wants to know, are you in a band? Am I gigging currently? This is my full-time gig. I make my living here online. But I recently did, just for kicks, I joined a wedding outfit with a couple of friends. And, you know, it's just a bunch of ex-touring musicians. Some of them are still touring. And we just get together once in a while and play weddings, and, you know, it's just a good time. So, I mean, I don't really like packing my kit up at 2 in the morning, but the gig pays well, so, you know, and it's a good way to get out every once in a while, play a really nice venue, pack up and drive home. That's kind of where I'm at in my life right now. Like I'm not on the road much at all anymore. I've sort of made a business out of this whole thing, so this is what I do. And I'm digging it. But I do love the stage. I love to perform. That life's not over. I'm sure that's going to pick up again eventually, but right now, I make my living down here. Yeah. Hold up. Hold up, man. Look at all these daggone comments. This is crazy. I can't even keep up. Noise in the Attic. Greetings from Poland. Shout out to Poland. Just reading, just reading. Not R. Kelly. It's a cool name. Not R. Kelly. Do I use Drumeo? I'm in the family, man. I'm one of the instructors. I don't know if you knew that, but it's true. If you go over to Drumeo, I got a bunch of lessons up in there too. Matter of fact, boom, let me pop this up. I don't know if you're an Edge member yet or not at Drumeo, but we're partners, man. And they hooked up a special link. I will leave it in the description box. If you want to try it for 30 days for free, go ahead and hit that link. Jorit, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. I love trying weird and exotic sticks. What are the craziest, wackiest sticks you've ever used? That's a good question. There's a company, my friend up here runs a company called Headhunter Drumsticks. I don't know if you heard of Headhunter Sticks. He's got some super wacky sticks, man. If you go on the Headhunter website and take a look at what they got, I tried a lot of what he makes, and he comes up with the craziest ideas for sticks. And some of them are really cool. So yeah, like he's just like, there's no rule book. He'll have sticks like this with like, you know, a big sort of wire on the end of it. So you can get rim shots and then you flip it over and you get a nice brush sound, all that kind of stuff. Check out Headhunter. I think it's headhunter.com. George Costanza, I'm going to ask respectively that you stop selling stuff on my channel. No disrespect, but We ain't here for that. Ugh, this is getting out of hand, y'all. Can't keep up. Somebody's shouting out from Scotland. Aranzo1, I believe that's your name. Hold up. Hold up. Zetric, are you a fan of Chad Smith? You know what? When I was younger, I used to think it was a little overrated. But gosh, if you've seen him recently, I don't know what is going on with these drummers that get like way better when they get older. But man, I was just watching some videos. The Chili's were on the Howard Stern show. And Chad is back there just Hulk smashing everything, man. It was amazing. So yeah, when I didn't know any better, I wasn't much of a Chad Smith fan. Now I think he's awesome. JM, what's your favorite rock album? I'm a big Tesseract fan. Polaris, listen to that album. Tesseract, Polaris, greatest album ever. And a close second is Mammoth's new one. Wolfie Van Halen. That Mammoth record is killer. I'm gonna call those a tie for top spot. Liam Harris, what's your secret to keeping time as a beginner? The secret to keeping time is learning your subdivisions. Straight up. You got to become best friends with all your subdivisions. So, wholes, halves, quarters, eighths, sixteenths, triplets, all of them. And then you got to be able, it's really just a matter of learning how to play all your subdivisions in time around this, right? Set your metronome. If you can play all your subdivisions around this. I got videos on my channel talking about this at great length, so you can check those out. But that's the secret, man. Once you're aware of your subdivisions, then you'll always be able to play them around the quarter note. So my tip for you, learn your subdivisions. Yeah, hang on a second, man. Hang on. What up, Daryl Chestnut? Ken, have you ever completely changed up your drum setup? If so, then how recent and what did it look like? Yeah. I don't change it too often because, you know, I got everything set up here to record and shoot videos and stuff. But yeah, I've done, you know, right now I got a 5-piece here, just your typical 5-piece. I've had 1 up, 2 down. I've had a 10-inch and I've had like an auxiliary sort of snare here, like a 12-inch timbale type thing. There's a wacky, I did this just for fun. It was a gimmick. Some people dug it, some people hated it. But I did this weird version of Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears. That's on my channel. Check that out. That's probably the wackiest setup I've had, but it was a lot of fun. Changing your setup is fun, to be honest. Like just moving stuff around, putting this here and sticking that there and just sitting down and you know, seeing what it feels like. It's just fun. I recommend it. Another good reason to set your kit up weird every once in a while is because when you're in a band and you're, you know, let's say you got a gig and you're opening up for someone else and you're using somebody else's drums, a lot of times you can't move many things around. Just out of respect, you shouldn't, because he's got it set up, he or she, they have it set up for however they play. But sometimes, and I'm speaking from experience, some of these setups are stupid. Stupid. You're looking at these things and you're like, how are you making this happen without ending up in the hospital? This is the wackiest friggin' setup I've ever seen. So sometimes just for kicks, you know, set up your kit weird for a little bit and just try it. You know what I mean? Set your snare a little bit lower. Set your hi-hat 5 feet in the air like Travis Barker. Take your ride and stick it up way up there and just try weird stuff. Don't stay there because it's not good physically. But, you know, doing that kind of stuff will kind of prepare you for any wacky setup you come across. Evan Hain. Thanks for that comment, man. Yeah, we were all beginners. We were all beginners out here at some point. So I know what it's like, man. I know what it's like to start from scratch. So that's why I like to pay special attention to my beginners out there. Pilot Jeff, what would you suggest to start playing again after 15 years? 15 years you've been away from the kit. That's a long time. So he used to tour in bands around and stuff, and he's starting all over again. Set up your kit and just start playing. You'll be surprised at how fast the stuff comes back to you. If you've already been in touring bands and stuff, the muscle memory is there. You just got to wake it up. So, you know, just sit on your kit, throw on some tunes, you know what I mean? And just start messing around. And then, of course, get yourself a practice pad and a pair of sticks and just work the crap out of it. That'll bring stuff back faster than you think. Janae Valti, am I saying your name right? I believe you're a jazz man, but I have to ask, what do you think about heavy metal drummers? Heavy metal drummers are freaking, listen, some of my favorite drummers are metal drummers. A lot of them, as a matter of fact. If you ever want to get into playing double kick, watch the metal dudes and girls because they're freaking crazy. I don't know how they do what they do with their feet. It's bananas. You might not be into the music, but what you can do is, you know, look up some of these bands and just do a little bit of Google searching, find out who the drummer is, and see if they got any instructional videos out. I know one of my favorite drummers is Jay Postones from Tesseract, and he does a lot of playthroughs, which are kind of fun to watch. Because when you're listening to the tunes, you're like, how are you even figuring this stuff out? But you find out when you go on there, like, you know, they might have some live streams or something, or, you know, just some general videos playing through the songs from the band. It's a good way to pick up some tips. I'm going to take a break from the pad. Whew, because my hands are nice and warm. And I got to keep up with these comments. So, give me one sec. Guitar Vibes wants to know how you build speed over fast licks. What's the process? The process, contrary to what you might hear from other people, the one thing that you need to remember is that the best way to learn how to play fast is to practice slow. Some people might talk you out of that. Just tell them to shut up. The whole thing about playing fast, a lot of it has to do with muscle memory. Muscle memory is the thing that will allow you to play not just fast, because fast doesn't mean anything if it's not accurate. So you have to first get the muscles moving how they need to move. That's the whole point of starting slow. If you want to learn how to play a fast single stroke, this is how you learn how to do it. And you do this 1,000,000 times in a row. Right? Take a look at your hands. Make sure they're moving right. Right now, your muscles are saying, thanks, man. They're saying, just keep doing it at that pace until I learn how to move, and then you can speed up. So that's what happens. That's what's happening when you're learning anything slow. Your muscles are learning how to move. Once they know how to move, then you can gradually start to speed it up. The thing is, they're going to be moving exactly the same way, just faster. And that is the best way to learn how to play fast. Doesn't make any difference what it is, whether it's just the hands and the feet, whatever it is. Best way to learn how to play fast is to start slow. Ed wants to know, what's more important, learning the rudiments or learning the technique? Yes, is the answer to that one. You can learn the technique while you're learning the rudiments, just like I showed you just now. That was a nice little segue, by the way. But yeah, you develop your technique by practicing the rudiments, right? First you learn the movement, and then it's repetition. Repetition fixes everything. So, yeah. T3 GIR. I'm just going to say that because I don't know how to pronounce that. Would love to hear a few words on confidence and how it applies to drumming. I mean, confidence in general, confidence comes with experience, basically, right? You're not going to have any confidence at something that you don't have any experience in. So the short answer is, the longer you play, the more confidence you'll get. You'll still get nervous. Nerves are a different thing. Confidence is something entirely different. You can be totally confident in something and still be nervous before you get up in front of a bunch of people and do it. But yeah, confidence comes with experience, man. When you first start out playing, you're still within your first year, 2 years, and you got to get up and play in front of 57 people. I highly doubt you're going to be too confident because you don't, your abilities aren't developed as much as they should be yet. So rightfully so, you're not going to be as confident in that situation. If you've been playing 10 years, you got plenty of experience, and your confidence is going to be probably through the roof. The better you become at something, the more confident you're going to be at it. So that's not just for drumming, that goes for everything. Dwayne Ladika, what are your thoughts on Sheila E? Everybody thinks about Sheila E because she's fine. Ralph Alcock, do you still play in church? Yes, I do. Quite regularly, almost every weekend. Let me back up, y'all. This is crazy. Kevin Berg, tips for a rack tom that makes your snare rattle really loud. The nerdy term for that is sympathetic snare buzz. It's another one of those fancy drum terms that people like to say. But basically what's happening is there's a frequency between your tom and your snare that both of them really like at the same time. So when your tom hits that frequency, it's causing your snares to go nuts, and that's where the buzzing comes from. So one thing that you can do, I mean, you can solve the problem at the tom or you can solve it at the snare. One thing you can do at the snare, if you flip your snare over, let me get that thing off of there. One thing that I've seen a lot of drummers try to do, and they say they've had success with it. When you flip your snare over, you got your snare wires going this way. The four lugs, or the four tension rods that are surrounding the wires, 1, 2, 3, 4, if you loosen those off, it'll help reduce the buzz a little bit. Another thing that you can do, if it's a 12-inch, 10-inch, whatever, you can tune that tom slightly up or slightly down. You're basically trying to get it out of that frequency range that's causing your snares to go nuts. Victor Nanos, what would you recommend as a second kit? I need a good sounding kit for rock gigging. What's your take? Don't spend a lot of money on it. And I'm talking brand new. You don't even have to get a used one. You can get a brand new kit now for under $1,000. It's going to sound every bit as good as any high-end kit did 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that cost 3-4 times as much, honestly. The quality that's going into intermediate kits these days, ridiculous. A lot of the high-end features that were on high-end kits years ago kind of trickled down, and they're now found in a lot of intermediate kits, anywhere between $700 and $1,500. And the quality is just nuts, man. If you're spending $4 grand on a regular jobbing kit, you're wasting your dough. This kit here, I don't take this kit out. I gig with $800 stage custom birch. And everywhere I go, people talk about how great this kit sounds. The thing is awesome. It's a workhorse. If I throw it down the stairs, I don't really care. It's not like these, you know what I mean? But yeah, don't spend a ton of dough. You know, if you got a favorite company, DW, Yamaha, Tama, Pearl, whatever, take a look at their sort of mid-level kits and pick one of those up for gigging. Sharon from Chicago, what's happening? Wiley Sill wants to know any input on gym workout routines for working drummers. I don't know about routines, but you know, hitting the weights definitely helps. Definitely. Especially, you know, if you spend some time working on the arms, that'll really, you'd be surprised at how much that affects your drumming. The best example that I know of this is, I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. The monster from Australia. Somebody help me out. I was just watching 10 videos of the guy yesterday. Virgil. Gosh, I need a sip of water. Virgil Donati. You can tell just by looking at him that he works out quite often. And his drumming is insane. I would just pick a couple of good leg exercises. I know Dave Weckl, he runs a lot. He didn't tell me personally, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to name drop. But he's mentioned that he runs quite a bit. But yeah, you know, good amount of cardio, throw a couple of weights up, that'll definitely affect your drumming. Just taking a break, y'all, to read some comments. I've been doing a lot of talking. If you ever tried to, live stream for an hour, man, you don't realize how much talking that is. It's ridiculous. Steve from Birmingham in England. I don't know why, but I love hearing from England. I need to go there sometime, man. I feel this weird connection to England for some reason. One day I got to make it over there. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any super chats. And there's one right there. Gonzalo, thanks for the super chat, man. Recently started drums. Your channel is really helping. Trying to separate legs and arms with your exercises. Greetings from Uruguay. Uruguay. That's crazy. Thanks for watching, man. Yeah, just keep, again, repetition fixes everything. You got to separate your hands from your feet. So if you're doing the right exercises, just keep doing them, and eventually you'll create that separation. Ed Lowe is thinking about buying a Roland electronic drum kit to practice. Would you recommend that? Absolutely. I hate electronic kits in general, but for practicing, they're awesome. You can't beat them for practicing. It's just like a bunch of practice pads that make a bunch of different noises. So yeah, highly recommended. You can do all kinds of stuff with those, practice the music, you know, play to a click, all of that. Built right into the head unit. Highly recommended. Jesse on drums, music wants a shout out. So shout out to you. Mario from Mississippi. Let me head on back up here for a second. MBL United, have you ever thought of doing podcasts? Yes, I have. That is definitely in my future. I'm working on it. I'm set up upstairs because I've guested on a few podcasts. I was just on Big Fat 5, if you haven't checked that out. But yeah, like I enjoy talking to drummers and asking them about their jobs. So that I would think for sure that is in my future at some point. Wow. 15 minutes left. Malk Spring from Halifax, UK. Harvey Meza, why did you choose drumming out of all the other instruments when you first started? Well, I didn't choose drumming. Drumming chose me. I can't stand that. That's the corniest friggin' answer. I can't stand when people say that. I actually started out on the keyboards. I wanted to be a keyboardist. And I still have one, and I can still kind of make my way around one. I wouldn't hire myself out as a keyboardist, but I can get done when I need to get done. I can't remember why. Actually, yes, I can remember why. Stuart Copeland was why. I think I saw the video for, I think it was the video for Roxanne, and that was it for me. I was probably 7 or 8 or something like that at the time. And then it was weird. I saw that at that young age, flipped out, loved the drums. And then when I hit my teens, I didn't really pay any attention to it. I thought I was gonna get into sports because I was big into baseball. It wasn't until I was like 16 or 17, that I just decided, I picked up a pair of sticks and I'm like, I love this. This is what I'm gonna do. And that was the end of that. Joe Taruza, your shirts were a hit at the Drum Fantasy Camp in Hollywood. That's cool, man. Weckle gave a smile. Are you serious? Shout out to Joe, man. Thanks for the advertising. That makes me happy. That makes me happy, man. By the way, this is one of mine. If you didn't know, I got a ton of drum shirts, hoodies, all that kind of stuff. There's a link in the description box. Make sure you hit that and head on over. Hey, as a matter of fact, shout out to Joe once again for helping me with this transition. I should have announced this. There's probably going to be an official announcement at some point. But I'm moving. I'm moving to a different merch platform. There will be an official announcement soon, but I'm going to be switching from Teespring to a different supplier. The shirts, the quality, man, of these new shirts, whoo! Slightly new designs, a bunch of new colors. Stay tuned for that. There's going to be some more info on that. But yeah, I'm going to be moving all my merch to a different platform, and it's going to be way cooler. There's going to be some things I'm able to do directly with you guys from that platform that I can't do with Teespring. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, pick one of these up. Andrew. Andrew Bissinar, is that your name? What kind of hot rods do you recommend? Mine keep fraying. That's a good question. I've gone through so many friggin' hot rods. They're great for maybe 2 weeks, and then pieces and parts start flying all over the place. I would try the sort of synthetic or like the nylon type of hot rods. They flex a little bit more, but you can move these around to make them a little stiffer. But those are much better. They give you the same effect, but they're obviously not going to fray because they're made out of nylon. Give those a shot instead. Because again, hot rods are great, but they break quite often. They don't last too long. So, and they ain't cheap. You know, you don't want to buy a pair and then 5 days later break one of them. Soup Master, what hi-hat stand would you recommend? Well, at this point in my life, I'm all about keeping it light. The lighter your hardware bag, the better. Yamaha has a line of hardware called Crosstown. They're made of aluminum, and they're stupid light, like laughably light. You can pick 2 of them up with 3 fingers. Just as strong, obviously, because Yamaha's hardware will last you 3 lifetimes. But yeah, I'm all about keeping it light, man. Check out the Crosstown stuff. That stuff is good. If you're gigging regularly, again, at this point, the goal should be to keep your hardware bag as light as possible. It'll save your back, all of that stuff. So yeah, check those out. Also, you can check out the ultralight stands from DW. Those things are brilliant as well. Let me catch up to some of these super chats. I think I'm missing a couple. Chip Hammond, thanks for the super chat, man. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and skills with us. You're welcome. That's why I'm here. Thanks everyone for chiming in, man. There's a whole lot of you in here, and I'm digging it. I've been away for a little bit. This is my first stream in a couple of months. So it's nice to come back and see a room full of people. Andre FS, what's your favorite recorded drum sound of all time? That's a good question. Whenever the subject of recorded drum sounds come up, I'm all about Alex Van Halen. I don't know what the deal was with Alex, but he always had the best recorded drum sound. One of the best examples of that, Drop Dead Legs. Have you ever heard the drums and Drop Dead Legs? Whoo! Best drum sound, best cymbal sound. I think he uses 2002s, big honking 2002s. He always had the best sounding kit, man. But that snare, I think it was a rosewood, maybe 14 by, could have been a 14.8 or 6.5. If anyone knows, you can chime in. If anyone agrees, you can chime in. But Alex freaking Van Halen has always had the best drum sound I've ever heard, ever. We're down to like 5 minutes. Man, this hour just flew by. Who's from Latvia? Taz ES from Latvia. If you're still here, shout out to Latvia. Tad Itch, is that your name? Tad. What's on the walls for better sound insulation? Yeah. A lot of people think these panels are for soundproofing. They're not. They don't have anything to do with soundproofing. They just kind of help to control some of the reverb, the natural reverb that was bouncing around all over the place. So it just helps me to get a better sound on the mics having these up on the wall. They just absorb some of the extra noise. And I didn't pay much for these, man. I think I must have paid like, ouch. I think I must have paid like 25 bucks a panel or something like that. So it wasn't a lot. And they're adhesive. You can just peel them up, stick them on the wall. And they work great. Oh my gosh. Brooke. Everybody give a shout out to Brooke Hornback. That is by far the biggest super chat I've ever received. Have you ever played any Rush songs? Yes. Not well, but I've played them. Shout out to Brooke, man. Thanks for that massive super chat. She's a regular. Everybody give Brooke a hand. HAV. HAV. How can I get my drummer to play a tad louder with more presence? And what do you think of Tama kits? Tama kits are great, coolest hardware, a little chunky, but they look really cool, especially on like the not the Superstar. I can't remember what their higher end kits are, but their hardware is really cool, especially those rims mounts. So yeah, I dig those. As far as getting a drummer to play louder with more presence, I feel your pain. That's annoying. There's nothing worse than a timid drummer. One thing you can do is encourage him, because I can guarantee you he's playing his pedal like this. So the first thing you can do is encourage him to use your whole leg. Learn how to play with the weight of your leg, because your kick drum is weak if you're already timid to begin with, and then you only got 1.5 inches of travel when you're playing flat-footed like that. You're not going to get any volume out of that. And yeah, he just needs to play with more confidence. He or she, I don't know, I mean, whatever. But you just got to encourage him to play with, a little more. Get your body involved a lot more when you play. And don't be so afraid to swing a stick. But yeah, that's kind of annoying. There's nothing worse than a timid drummer. Star Classic, thanks Art Taylor, thanks Mount Spring. Star Classic, Tama Star Classic, that's the one. The hardware on those kits, boss. They look really cool too. I love when I get stuck. You guys are quick to help me out. I dig that. Kurt Fleming, how to stay relaxed at all times when I'm playing. It's a good question. A lot of it is up here. You got to remind yourself to calm down. It starts with the hands, okay? When you're grabbing your sticks, don't grab them like this, right? It starts with a loose grip, because everything's connected. If your hands are loose, your arms will be loose. If your arms are loose, everything up here is going to be loose. And then eventually your whole body is going to be nice and loose. So if you're feeling yourself tense up, pay attention to the hands and make sure that you got a nice loose grip. Starts there and then just trickles down from the rest of that. Having said that, I'm going to land this plane because it's been an hour already. And once again, it's been fun hanging with y'all, talking, all that stuff. I like doing these, man. It's a cool, to be honest, it's a good break sometimes from doing videos. I can just sit here, answer questions, all that type of stuff. Yeah, so thanks everyone for coming out. We had a lot of viewers today, which is really cool. Thanks everyone for the super chats. Much appreciated. We're going to do this again soon. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anyone. Chip Hammond, I got you. Silas, didn't want to leave without catching you. Have you ever tried putting stuff in your hi-hats? No. Why would I do that? That's weird. But thanks for that super chat, man. Look at all these. Rockin' Ross, Sharon Jaffas. Thanks, Sharon. Before I get up out of here, I'm making sure I got everybody. Who this? Gonzalo, I got you. All righty. I think that's it, man. So with that said, everyone, thanks for coming out. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for bringing the snacks. We will do this again soon. I might be wearing a hat. I might not. I don't know. It depends on my mood that day. But yeah, man, appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching the channel. Thanks for helping this channel grow as much as it has. I am excited to soon hit 300,000 subscribers. We're almost there. Tell somebody what we're doing over here. Let them know what kind of fun they're missing out on. And I will see y'all